Hello, good people. Today, we're going to be talking a bit of my writing advice. I think it's probably right to preface that I'm not the most accomplished writer you'll find here on YouTube. There's a lot of better ones out there. This is just what has helped me as someone who has seen very mild success, if any. Um, just really keep in mind more my most impressive quality as a writer. I think more than the one publication I have is that it's the thing I think about the most. Um, and my advice is to employ something that I like to call the dictionary method. That the characters should never be aware of the central theme of your work, and that ideally the theme should never be uttered as a single word or really even attempted to be defined. The story itself is the definition, and by ever having a moment where you try to compress that definition into a sentence, paragraph, or even page, you are making a story that is too heavy handed to really capture the mind of the audience. It's almost paradoxical, but you look at a lot of movies out today, and it's clear that they're maybe trying a little too hard to get people to resonate with their message, and people don't really operate that way. You look at a very well intentioned movie by a talented director like Adam McKay, Don't Look Up, was so heavy handed that people understood what it was actually about, climate change allegory, via the trailer. And I think that's a big reason why that movie really didn't have much staying power at all compared to other works of his, like the Big Short, which is great. And meanwhile, the great writers that have survived the test of time really understood this perfectly. One of my favorite songwriters, David Berman, put this really well on a song called People, when he said that the meaning of the world lies outside the world. We as people are blind to the central themes of our lives and the forces guiding them. So our characters should be as well if they are to feel real, and you can also use that to guide them down kind of tragic paths, if you will. And one incredibly talented, maybe best short story writer ever who understood this is Jorge Luis Borges in his famous story, The Garden of Forking Paths, which entails very much this fictional masterpiece that is all about time called The Garden of Forking Paths. And in explaining its construction, one character asks another, he says, in a guessing game to which, The Garden of Forking Paths is an enormous guessing game or parable in which the subject is time. The rules of the game forbid the use of the word itself. To eliminate a word completely, to refer to it by means of inept phrases and obvious paraphrases, is perhaps the best way of drawing attention to it. This, then, is the tortuous method preferred by the oblique Sui pen in every meandering of his interminable novel. So, what Borges is really, he says it pretty clearly, is that the most effective form of communication is to employ what the dictionaries do. They never will use the word in its own definition. I mean, of course not. If you don't know what the word is, you can't understand it. And to write about a theme is to be more of a spiritual dictionary almost. You want the reader to feel it a lot more than they ever could reading it out of a dictionary. It affects what an excess of your theme can do to it, or a lack. So do not address it, no matter how tempting it can be. Trust your reader. You look at probably the consensus greatest movie of the 21st century, No Country for Old Men. That's a great example. It's really on its surface just violence. You know, there's not anyone pointing to you and saying that this is what this all means. You know, it's absurdity, it's this, it's that, it's the faith or lack thereof faith. Instead, you get Tommy Lee Jones just trying to make sense of it all and changing his mind multiple times through it. You know, he is trying to understand the events of the story almost like a surrogate of the audience, but he's completely lost to it. Not that he's wrong, it's that he's blind to the truth of the writer. So that's what I believe. It's really an addition by subtraction. Go to anything you're working on, challenge yourself to find moments where you may have been a little too heavy-handed. Even do Control F if you want to, and be a little stranger, because even though if it seems like you might be steering your work away from its meaning, you might get it to actually sit with people a lot more because you've created a dictionary. So let me know how this works out for you. I'm open to any questions or suggestions about writing. I'm always looking to get better myself. And please read my Substack. Thank you.